Well. A little later than normal, but guys, you know the drill. It's Monday night. It's time to drink some beers. It's time to drink some beers on the Toronto Beer Podcast with me, your host, Chris Schreier. Hey, Kevin. Good to see you joining in. Just to have a quick little sip of this beer that I'm not drinking tonight. That's confusing, isn't it? Because I'm clearly about to drink it. And it's a real cracker too. This is the old style Pilsner from, of course, Godspeed. Bless their souls. Hang on one sec. One more sip. Should have finished this before I started. Very unprofessional of me. Oh, I was screaming my head off at rugby practice tonight because my pestilential players were not listening very well. But I highly recommend it. You should coach children at something you know about. And I know about rugby. So here we go. Good times. Sorry, also, apologies in advance. You might hear me cough. You're going to hear I sound a little congested, a little snuffly. Guys, it's just a cold. Okay, I got a negative test at the weekend. Totally fine. Feel pretty good, to be honest with you. I just congested and coughing all the time. But you want to get some dirty looks in public, try coughing. People will not hesitate to give you some serious side eye. Anyway, we got 2 beers to get to tonight, kids. So let's stop dilly-dallying around. Pardon me. And let's jump in. We're going to start out with this beauty. This is O'Neill Stout from your friend and mine, Left Field. This is a stout. I've had this stout a number of times, but I haven't had this new comeback iteration of it. I don't know if that's actually what we call it. This has been a seasonal. Now, Left Field very graciously sent me a letter with some information on these beers. I've lost it. So I'm just working off the website. It doesn't say if it's a regularly available one, but it might be. It might be. But the key to this one that we're all excited about, me as much as the next fella or friend, hey Jake, is this. I mean, it's a stout, so right out of the gate, I'm happy. But I poured the whole thing. Drat! I meant to only pour half of it. Now I'm going to have to drink it all before I can drink the next one because I only brought 1 glass and we're live. I can't just nip off to the kitchen and get a glass. And I know my wife's not watching yet, so she's not even hearing this to fetch me a glass. So I'm on my own. We're going to party tonight. We're going to party like it's on sale for $19.99. Anyway, O'Neill Stout. I gotta warn you, my sense of smell right now is somewhat limited, what with the congestion. What I'm getting off this is coffee, maybe cola, some clearly nicely dark roasted malt, without a doubt. Yeah, just not a whole lot. Again, sorry, a little congested. Let's stick it in my drink hole and see what happens. Man, the mouthfeel on that beer is incredible. Yeah. Oh, chocolate. Woo, big time. Big hit of cocoa on the end. Yeah. Yeah, coffee and chocolate. It's delightful. I was saying before I distracted myself and then couldn't smell anything. The good news on this beer in this iteration, and I believe the intent now going forward, all Ontario ingredients. All Ontario. Now, Left Field's water, always Ontario, because they're here in Toronto, and we don't get water from anywhere else. A lot of people take our water because it's real nice, but we just drink our own. So the water was already Ontario anyway, but the hops and the malt, all Ontario, and the yeast, I'm assuming escarpment, that's Ontario too. It's all Ontario ingredients. So you can feel good about the O'Neill Stout, not just because you're supporting a great brewery, i.e. Left Field, who, by the way, I think you knew this, but just in case you didn't, living wage employer. Love that. That means they pay their people a decent wage. But the ingredients that go into the beer also support the local economy. So good for you and good for me. Well, I didn't buy this. They did give it to me, full disclosure. But I do buy this beer because it's delightful. So you can feel good about buying this beer. And yeah, like I say, with a fairly limited capability to smell things right now, yeah, coffee. Still get a little hint of cola on the nose, but I'm not getting it on my palate. It's nice. That chocolate, it's not just cocoa. It's like dark chocolate. There's some weight to it. I like it. And it's not bitter. It's chocolatey. This is good. Nice, sturdy, dry, not hoppy in like an IPA sense, but there's a nice clean hop kind of finish to it. Couldn't tell you what the hop is off the top of my head. Sometimes in a stout, you know what I like? I like a little Northern Brewer. I wonder if the can says, or the website, because they often will tell you that. It doesn't. No, there it is. It doesn't say. It just says hops. So I'm imagining the website probably says the same. Guys, I at least took the time to open the web pages before we started. Well, I can tell you they don't list the hops, but they do say it's Barn Owl Pale Ale Malt from right here in Ontario. Oh, sorry, it's not Ontario. It's 100% Canadian ingredients, and Red Shed Alberta roasted barley. And I'm going to go ahead and assume that the hops are from VQH or Hey Ho Farms or one of them right here in Ontario. So all Canadian, pardon me, not all Ontario. It does say right on the I don't have the same label. Mine just says O'Neill Stout, but the one on the website says 100% Canadian Stout. So I don't know why I didn't get that label, but that's okay. I'm fine with it. It's a lovely stout, really nice stuff. They've made some suggestions. Bone-in smoked beef short rib. Incidentally, they always call them the ballpark bearings, and I get it. You can't really limit yourself just to ballpark stuff. I've never been to a ballpark with bone-in smoked beef short rib. Now, I know certainly at least Mark and Mandy, they've done some tours to go to different ballparks, and maybe they've been to a ballpark that serves that. I've certainly never seen it. That sounds elaborate. They also mentioned clam chowder in a bread bowl, which does sound good. And this would be nice with the clam chowder for a variety of reasons. What would I have with it, though? I'm glad you asked. Now, I don't have to limit myself to ballpark pairings. Thank the creator for that. What would I like to eat with it? That is the question I would hope you would ask. Maybe you already have. Maybe you've been waiting with bated breath. If your breath has been baited, I would suggest you unbait it. I don't know what that means, but you can do it. Unbait that breath and listen up, because this is what I'm going to eat with it. Hello, craft beer and kittens. I'm not going to eat craft beer and kittens, either the user or cats. I actually don't, in principle, have anything wrong with eating cats. I just don't do it. If you want to eat a cat, eat a cat. I mean, probably not one that's been loved by somebody, but they're animals. If you eat animals, why not eat a cat? Okay, I know that scientifically speaking, cats are carnivores, and we tend not to eat carnivores. We tend to eat plant eaters. What's the word? Herbivores. Because you get a better return on energy investment and on and on and on. But I digress. Let's leave that for now. Also, if anybody's still listening after I said go ahead and eat cats, I don't care. Craft beer and kittens got the hell out of Dodge when I said that. What was I saying? Oh, it's what I was going to eat with this. It's a good question. I got the answer. Yeah. Bangers and Champ. Now, you've heard of Bangers and Mash, probably, maybe. I'm going to point out my bangers are going to be plant-based. I wouldn't have typically said this, but as I always say, we live in a golden age to be a plant-based eater. And there are some decent bangers now that you can get that are plant-based. I mean, if you like meat, you're not going to like them because they ain't meat, but they work. Champ, though, is where we get confusing. Now, I've told you about this. So if you're a regular listener to the Toronto Beer Podcast, forgive my repetition. Champ is like Northern Irish mashed potatoes. So far, so good. Potatoes, pardon me, boiled, mashed up. But when you mash potatoes, you tend to have to add something to it. Normally some butter, maybe some cream or milk. Some people swear that they like to just use some of the water that the potatoes were cooked in. And they say it's lower calorie and low fat. And they claim it's as good as cream. They're wrong. Maybe to them it is, but they also evidently then have no sense of taste or pleasure. I would encourage you to use at least whole milk and consider adding some cream in there just to richen things up, or sour cream. That's really nice in mashed potatoes, but that's not what you're going to do for this. What you're going to do for this is you're going to take a couple of green onions. Okay. You're going to need a little pot. We have a nice little pot. I like it. It holds about 5 cups of liquid. You're going to take that small pot. You're going to chop up some green onions. You're going to put them in the pot. You're going to pour some milk in there. You're going to put some butter in there. You're going to bring the whole thing to a boil. And then when the potatoes are ready, you're going to take that pot. Once it hits a boil, you can turn it off. You don't need to cook anything. You're just heating it up. And you're going to dump that in the potatoes, and you're going to mash that into the potatoes, and your life is going to change. By the way, if you, like me, tend to mash your potatoes with the skin still on, we call them smashed potatoes when we do them that way. A, because I'm cheap and don't like wasting things, and B, because the skins have like a ton of fiber in them. It's very good for you. You can't do that for this. I mean, you can, but you might as well just use the potato water at that point. Peel those potatoes. Now, if you want, you can deep fry those skins into crispy little morsels of deliciousness, which you then dust with Old Bay, if your name is me. But you don't have to do that. The key is peel the potatoes. You don't want skins in there. You want a nice, smooth, rich, slightly oniony. Oh, champ. Man, I haven't had champ in a minute. Anyway, and bangers, and then you put some gravy up on there, and you have this with it. That's classic pub fare. It's going to be, you're going to like that one. That's what you're going to want to do. And why does that work? Well, the potatoes are quite creamy and rich. The bitterness and slightly coffee chocolatiness is going to stand against that. And then with the bangers, typically you'd sear them off in the pan and they get some color on them. And then you finish them in the oven and that color pops. That color, caramelization, Maillard reaction, if you prefer, or Maillard, if you want to pronounce it like a Anglophone, works really well with the burnt sugars in the beer. So that's the key. Oh, I've really dropped the ball on this one. I really don't have another glass. I wonder if I can put it back in the can. It's not like toothpaste, right? I'm going to have another sip. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's been 13 minutes. It's too early in the night for this. All right, here we go. What I just did, if you're listening and not watching the video, there was about 2/3 of a beer left in the glass. I drank about half of that. So I had about 1/6 of the beer there. And if you'll indulge me, I don't condone this sort of behavior, but I do have another beer I need to drink. And this is delicious, but I need to drink another beer, if you will. Bear with me. Well, now we have an empty glass. And I have a happy belly. And I'm going to burp. Oh, that was something. I had latkes for dinner. Tasted like potatoes. Why did I have latkes for dinner, you ask? Not a Jewish holiday. And I'm not a Jew to celebrate. Although I'll take any excuse to eat a latke. Because a latke, friends, is potatoes that you fry in oil. And there's not much I like more than a potato, ideally fried in oil, or mixed with cream and green onions and mashed up. Now, I'm trying to clean this glass out because the next beer is totally different. So we do this as a trick. You pour, what have we got in there? A couple of tablespoons? I don't know. Call it 30 ml of beer, and I swirl it around. Now, this beer is a mix of the two. It's mostly the second one, but there's a little bit of the first one. So I want to get rid of this, and I'm going to put it in my belly. But the key is I just need to not think about it. I'm not going to taste it. I'm not going to think about, oh, what does that taste like? It's just going to be cold and wet, and it's going to go down my throat like this. I mean, I didn't sell that, did I? That didn't make it sound amazing, but don't think about it, Chris. It's real hard not to think about, though. Oh, the aroma is just assaulting my very congested nose. Highly, highly delightful. This, by the way, Disco Demolition Night Double IPA. Kevin's saying chug, chug, chug. I mean, it's not really a chug. I did it in two. And it was only 2/3 of a beer. Third at a time. No, wait, what did I say? I did the math wrong there, didn't I? If I had 2/3 of the beer and I finished half of it, that's not a sixth. That's 1/3. This is why you should always wear a helmet when you're doing any sort of contact sport. Anyway, I digress. Disco Demolition Night, double IPA. I love a stout. I don't want to take anything away from that, but this is going to get me right in the feels, I think is what they say. The taste feels, I guess. Anyway, so Disco Demolition Night double IPA. Okay, so very hoppy and again, my sensitivity isn't quite there. It's very fresh, bright hoppiness. It could be touching on floral or maybe a little tropical. That's basically all I can smell, unfortunately. Again, not on my A game right now, but let's see what the let's do the tongue test. That's what they call it. I think in the BJCP. This part of the show is the tongue test. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, hello. Hello. That's interesting. Quite hoppy, obviously. I'm going to go with melons and berries. It's the main thing I'm getting off the hops right now. Definitely some citrus in there. Something maybe a little grapefruity. Yeah. Grapefruit peel. Yeah. And interestingly, I couldn't necessarily tell you the malt profile. I can tell you visually it looks pretty yellow. So I don't know that there's anything much more than than two-row or whatever. But there is a nice slightly almost pilsnery kind of malt profile to it. Mostly covered up by the hops, but it is there. And I'm aware of some perceived sweetness on the palate, so it's in there. I'm going to have one more sip here. Hang on a sec. Let's see what they say about this. Get their opinion. They say juicy, orange, pineapple. I could probably believe pineapple. And hints of gentle strawberry. And by a slightly dry medium finish. Medium finish. What does that mean? You mean medium body? Medium weight body? I don't know. Yeah, could be. I could call it that. It's a great finish. Lingering juiciness. Some hop bitterness. Now, that's quite nice. That's a little scary though. Now again, congestion might factor in here, but I think it's like 8%. It's like 7.8%, pretty close to 8%. It's kind of beer that could land a fellow like me in a whole world of hurt, especially the next morning. I could probably drink more of these than would be, strictly speaking, good for me. Not even just according to my doctor, according to me. But it's delightful, man. It's nice. It is big and juicy, just the way I like it. No aggressiveness from the alcohol at all. It's not hot. It's not sticky either. A lot of late hopping, I think. Teeth aren't even really squeaky. So really nice stuff. That's a really good double IPA. I wonder if we would call that a New England style or not. I would. Or at least I'd call it like a new school. It's not a West Coast. It doesn't have that punch. The actual perceived bitterness. It's mellower than that, but it's very hoppy. It's quite good. And what are we going to eat with that? I mean, I bet, I think I caught a glimpse on the webpage there of something about Nashville hot chicken. Sure. That's, what we say, those big hoppy IPAs, you go with something spicy. That's a standard fare. That's a good choice. Me though, I would, what I would do? And this is not ballpark fare, but I would hope to find this available at Salad King, the delightful Thai restaurant. What's it on? Is it on Gold? It's just off Yonge. It's on the Ryerson campus. Great spot. And I would get a very fragrant green curry with this. Spicy, yes. I think if I recall, I liked my Salad King curries somewhere in the 12 to 15 chili neighborhood, which is pretty hot. I mean, it's nowhere near like they're warning you that you might go to the hospital hot, but that ain't cool. You're gonna feel that on the old kisser. Your tongue's gonna be on fire in the best way. Aromatic curry, especially the green one. Man, the lemongrass in that thing is just bring a tear to your eye. It's going to work really well though, because as noted, and as I just brought up, lemongrass, yeah, definitely. Thai basil for sure is in there. And galangal, that's Thai style ginger. These are all flavors. They're not similar at all, but they're all quite perfumey, very fragrant. And those specific aspects, taste-wise, they're quite delicate. That's what I would say. And now this isn't necessarily delicately hoppy, but I think the perfumey qualities of that curry and those juicy, fruity qualities going to play really well together. And as noted, I'm making mine somewhere in the 12 to 15 chili range, quite hot. So we're doing well with the IPAs with spicy food thing. And then, of course, you're going to have some shrimp crackers because they're delicious. And if you're smart, probably going to start with like green mango salad. That would work really well with this too. In that case, you got a lot of tartness standing up against the fragrance and the bitterness there. That's also a good combination. Maybe what you do is you'll tailgate at the game with some tinnies of the Disco Demolition Night double IPA, and you can bring in takeout Salad King, or the Thai restaurant of your choosing, or the Siamese restaurant of your choosing if you're 130 years old, or however long ago it was we called Thailand Siam. That's what I want with it. Let me just take a quick peek and make sure. They did say Nashville hot chicken and chorizo sausage. Pardon me. Both of those, to be honest with you, neither things that I would have necessarily gone for myself, what with the not eating meat and all. Both have... There's reasonable arguments to be made on both those examples, but I'm telling you, get some Thai food. Oh man, I haven't had a Salad King in a long time. Anyway, I just had a really good idea. Erica's not here right now, right? She's not in our room. No, that could be our anniversary. My anniversary is coming up in November, and it's not a major one, so we won't do anything too serious. But we might order in some Salad King. That'd be nice. Pretty good. Maybe, depending on COVID stuff, leave the kids at home and we'll go to Salad King on our own. That'd be all right. I would do it. I would. You look out. I'm about to. Oh, for those of you wondering, let me do the math. 18. Yeah, 18. Yeah, my marriage can drink in Quebec as of November the... Oh, wait, I always do this one wrong. 5th? No, I think I got engaged on the 5th and I got married on the 8th. It's the 8th. It's November the 8th. Oh, I'm really glad Eric's not watching this right now. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. Hey, it's getting late, and I still have to talk to you about something else. It's not that bad. We're only running at 25 right now, so that's pretty good. I'm gonna have a sip of beer. 1 second. It's delicious. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Where do you get these beers? We should deal with that. The brewery. They're definitely available at the brewery, and maybe the LCBO. I don't think they're at grocery. I think I see Greenwood at the grocery store, and sometimes ice cold beer, maybe. And those are definitely both available at the LC. Don't know if either of these ones make it to the LCB or not, but oh, look at that! A 4-pack of Disco Demolition Night is only $12.21. That means they're $3 and change a piece. They're less than the Chris Schreier $1 per 100 ml rule. That's pretty good. Yeah, I could sign up for that. Nice. I do like that beer. And that O'Neill, fantastic stuff. Oh, and significantly cheaper. $9.73. Now that's pre-tax, I bet. And I tend to think about my alcohol tax in. But now, does my scale, that's tax in the way I think about it. Definitely tax in. So anyway, neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. By the way, Sweet Spot, their Mocha Marshmallow Stout, also dropping. I think has dropped now past tenths. Kingdom Kvike Pale Ale. I'd like to try some of that. Southpaw IPA, Greenwood IPA, Scout Micro IPA, Moonshot Double IPA, Power Alley Triple IPA, Laser Show Classic Double IPA. There's a lot of IPAs. Gigante. Oh, it's out though. Oh, these are, sorry. I was just reading you a bunch that were struck out. Anyway, a lot of good IPAs coming out of left field right now. Bless their souls. One more sip. Hey, Anthony, by the way, welcome aboard. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to get it at the brewery. If you can get it at the LCBO, cool. But go to the brewery. So nice. Taking a game. I think they've got the game on again. And the Jays are apparently doing good things right now. So what a time to be alive. Hot diggity. Go watch some Vlad Guerrero Jr. Vlad, eh? Vlad. Like the Impaler. Anyway, I digress. Hey, I'm sure, I hope that there's enough simpatico between what I'm doing here and the rest of the world that I don't need to tell you this. I certainly don't want to be the one to tell you this. So if I am the one telling you this, know that it's impacting me as much as you. Norm Macdonald passed away, eh? What a guy. Canadian fella. And had apparently had cancer for like 8 or 9 years, I think. Been fighting it. Didn't tell anybody. Didn't tell a soul. Didn't want a big song and dance made of it. But he passed away far too young. I think 60 something. Oh, hey, and Ben Johnson's just joined in. Speaking of people who probably already knew that Norm Macdonald has passed away. But man, I think like everybody, I've been really watching a lot of his stuff recently. Yesterday, I had some spare time. The family were all out. What with this cold and all, I'm not allowed to go socially calling, so I stayed home and I watched every Norm Macdonald appearance on Letterman from like 1990 to 2015. That was like 3.5 hours, very well spent. I would highly recommend it. Look that up on the old YouTube. I first saw Norm Macdonald on, I think, a Just for Laughs special on the television, on the TV, as he liked to say. And I don't remember the whole set, but his closing bit was that he'd quit smoking. And all of a sudden, everything tastes amazing. And he's talking about this, everything. I go out and I have some food, and this is the most delicious, fantastic tasting thing I've ever had in my life. And the waiter comes along. I say, what is this tasty, zesty food you've served? It's a boiled potato. Huh? I get the recipe for that. It was a really good bit. I loved him. This was pre Saturday Night Live. It was fantastic, really good stuff. And then of course everybody remembers him for the Weekend Update. Just I found myself more rattled. I get the whole celebrity death thing really impacts people because we invest a lot of our time and energy in consuming the things that celebrities give us, I suppose. And often when a celebrity dies, there's a real public outpouring. I remember when Kobe Bryant died, and it's a terrible story. Dying in a helicopter crash, that's awful. That's just terrible. And like his daughter was on board, like that's hard too. That's tough. So that I understand. But then there was this whole, sort of public outcry about the sadness of losing Kobe. And I thought, well, I guess it's a basketball player, a very good basketball player by all accounts. He'd probably kick the crap out of me in one-on-one, but I just didn't feel. Maybe I'm not personally invested in basketball enough. I didn't feel any of that, but I really got dinged by Norm Macdonald's passing. I saw it on the social media. I was scrolling. I was at work. Actually, it was Stephen Merchant. Sorry, not actually getting choked up yet. I just tried to talk through a cough. It didn't work. Let me have a sip of beer. Anyway, it was Stephen Merchant. I saw it was the first report of Norm's passing. And my immediate reaction, I said, oh no. Oh, that was literally it. Oh no. So sad. Anyway. And I watched like I said, been watching a bunch of his comedy. And of course, everybody knows the time the chick from, what was it, Melrose Place. That was a good interview though. That zinger at the end of it. It's bored is spelled B-O-R-E-D. Oh, that was just amazing. One of the things I did see, it wasn't in the series of, I watched some other stuff before I got into every appearance on Letterman. He talked in sort of the early 2000s, I think, that what he wanted to be, he wanted to become like Dangerfield. The way that Dangerfield would go on Carson and would just kill for 7 or 8 minutes. And Johnny would be dying laughing, like uncontrollable laughing, not humoring him, not just taking part, but like legitimately uncontrollable laughing. And Dangerfield would just be running his mouth the whole time. And obviously with a different style of comedy, that's what Norm Macdonald was chasing. And that's where now I can assure you, having watched hours of his talk show appearances, which to be fair, I also watched some stand up, but the talk show appearances are really the gold in that situation. And I'd say he didn't get there and that he was the same as Dangerfield, but like those guys loved booking him to fill slots because he would always be such good value coming onto the show. So yeah, it was fantastic, but very, obviously very sad as well. But I also found myself reflecting, how nice it is to sort of have that, to have all these videos, all these memories, of a really honestly fantastic comedian. So, cheers to Norm Macdonald, a fantastic life, a man who you never really knew if the story was for real or how much of it was for real, but the things that you always did know, from the interviews, at least, he loved every minute of doing that stuff. His career had some bumps for sure. But he when he was in it, when he was grafting at his craft, he was loving every minute of it. He loved his son in a way that I fully relate to, and just think is beautiful, and was exceptionally, uncommonly funny and smart and quick. so quick. One of his most famous, the moth joke, was on Conan when Conan was doing the Tonight Show for that little stint. And Norm had come on, had done his first interview, which is like 7 or 8 minutes. And as they were going to commercial, the producer was like, Norm, stay for another one. And he was like, what are you talking about? I can't stay for another. I don't have anything prepared. And and here's my love now, Erica. She didn't hear anything about Salad King. Don't worry. Yeah, he said, I don't have anything prepared. What am I going to do? I said, just do something. Tell us a story. And Colin Quinn had told him the moth joke, but it had been like an 8-second joke. You know, it's the moth goes to the podiatrist and says a bunch of things that's wrong with his life, and he's depressed. And the podiatrist says, that sounds terrible, but why did you come here? I think you need a psychiatrist. And the moth says, well, the light was on. Just a great joke. But Norm Macdonald, apparently after the conversation with the producer, turned to Conan and said, how long do I have to fill? And Conan said, 7 or 8 minutes. So he filled out 7 or 8 minutes to that joke in a way that only he could. Real nice stuff. So anyway, there's no PSA tonight. PSA is, especially if this is all sounding new and unusual to you, jump on YouTube. Look up Norm Macdonald, as David Letterman liked to call him, and you will not regret the time lost to watching arguably one of the funniest live comics in certainly our lifetime. So that's what I've been up to. How about you? That's kind of what this podcast is me just talking at somebody, but I'm not making you laugh the way that Dangerfield made Johnny laugh, or the way that Norm made David and Conan laugh. But a guy can hope, I guess. Anyway, that's what I got. I'm going to drink another sip of this delicious Disco Demolition Double IPA, which is a lot of D's. We haven't talked about that yet. It's not quite an alliteration, but it's pretty damn close. Damn, that's a D too. Anyway, okay, thanks to Left Field. Delicious, delicious stuff. O'Neill, 100% Canadian ingredients now. Get it in you. Get it at the brewery. Disco Demolition Night, double IPA, 3/5 of the way to an alliteration. Also, right in my wheelhouse. I could drink this all night and then regret my life choices afterwards. I'm going to stick to just the one, especially after shotgunning that O'Neill. So that's what's happening. Grab them both at the brewery, of course, on Wagstaff in Leslieville. Easy to find, and you'll be happy that you did when you get there, that you found it. Feel free Monday to Friday to arrive before 3 p.m. Get yourself a coffee at Pilot Roasters right next door on the way out. Great coffee, probably the best coffee in the city, at least from a organized entity. Maybe your buddy roasts his own beans in a 18th century Israeli bronze drum with a methyl hydrate flame under it. Not like I know somebody who does that. Anyway, you can get a coffee from them. It's really good. Right next to Left Field. They used to share a forklift, which was really cute. Anyway, that's what I got. I got to run. We're coming up on 40 minutes. I'm congested as crap. And, oh, by the way, did you vote today? I really hope so, because if you're listening to this in Toronto and you haven't yet, I'm sorry, you're 20 minutes late. You weren't going to get it done anyway, but you definitely can't do it now. On the other side, if you're listening to this in BC, I think you've still got about 2 hours and 30 minutes. No, that can't be right. 40. Is that it? I don't care. If you're listening to this and you haven't voted yet, give your head a shake. Now, if you live in a riding like mine where the Liberal guy is just going to win no matter what, even then you still should, because you can give your vote to somebody else. I voted orange. I generally do. Not always, but most of the time. And, that's an extra vote in their account. That's good. It's a pat on the back for them. Keep up the good work, guys. However you voted, you are most welcome here. Unless you voted for the PPC, in which case you can eat a bag of dicks for all I care. Well, it's probably time for me to wrap up the show. I'm glad you joined me. Of course, I was very pleased for my special guest, Norm MacDonald. Not really because he died and that upset me. But tune in next Monday. We're going to have a real nice show. I don't know what's going to happen yet because that's a whole week away. Yeah, I don't. I got nothing. So we'll see. Send suggestions if you want. I'm open. I'm very capable of procuring beer. So you let me know what you want to see. Oh, there is one thing I might have. I haven't had it yet. It'd be returning to sawdust, but we could manage that. That would be something. That's the failback. If I don't accidentally forget and drink it before then, and if I don't think of something else, tune back in a week for a delicious beer from Sawdust City or something else. But either way, have a good night. Be safe out there. And we'll talk to you in 7 days.